There have been plenty of memoir comics about the author dealing with mental health issues. They're usually not done in a manic, Harvey Kurtzman Mad Comics tone. But Justin Green's 1972 book Binky Brown Meets the Holy Virgin Mary definitely is. And yet, whether you take it as wacky comedy can depend on your upbringing. Back in 2013, Kumar and I discussed the book and found that we had vastly different experiences reading it. This week, as we take a break for Christmas, we flash back to episode 372 from September 23, 2013. First, as always, I'd like to thank our patrons for helping to keep the show going. You can pitch in by pledging at least $2 a month at patreon.com/deconcomics.
This is Tim.
And this is Kumar.
And this is Deconstructing Comics. Welcome to Deconstructing Comics. This is Tim in Tokyo with Kumar in Melbourne. A few weeks ago we mentioned on the Crazy Cat episode the Comics Journal's 100 Best Comics of the 20th Century, and today we're talking about number 9 on that list, Binky Brown Meets the Holy Virgin Mary by Justin Green. I had not heard of this
1972.
From 1972. I mean, I read this issue a long time ago. I had forgotten about this comic, and when you mentioned doing it for the show, it didn't ring a bell for me at all. But how were you aware of it?
I'm not sure how I first heard of it, but I probably read it for the first time about maybe 12 or 13 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
I bought they're at the time the only edition you could get was a trade paperback called the hang on a second. It's called Justin Green's Binky Brown Sampler from Last Gasp, and it's got Binky Brown Meets the Holy Virgin Mary in it, and also about 50 pages of other comics that he's done over the years.
Okay. So I read this. And the first time I read it, I think I didn't really get what it was.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well,
you didn't get what it was?
Well, I could tell it was autobiographical. He's calling himself Binky Brown, but it was clear to me that it was autobiographical. And he had an axe to grind with the Catholic Church, or with his upbringing. I mean, a lot of people, especially if they're brought up in a strict religious way, get overly sensitive about sexual things or grossed out by them or whatever. I mean, I know some of those feelings firsthand. This is really over the top in that way.
It's extreme. It's super extreme. The way you're describing it is not even... I mean, this comic is like nothing else. And it's funny because it came out in 72. It was a huge influence on the whole comic scene. And a lot of autobiographical comics started coming out as a result of that. And in Art Spiegelman's afterword or forward, he also mentions how it was the direct inspiration for Mouse. And I think Spiegelman was Justin Green's roommate at the time. He was working on it or something like that. We have to go into the depth of the neuroses because that's the bulk of the book.
Right.
But,
well, yeah.
Go ahead. To say neuroses is itself incorrect, but at the time that he did the work in 1971, 1972, or however long it took him to work on it, he assumed that all of his psychotic behavior, his neurotic behavior, was based around the Catholic upbringing. The strict Catholic, well, you shouldn't even say strict, but he went to a Catholic school. But his father was Jewish, which we discover in an amazing panel, which I'm kind of jumping the gun about. But he blamed it on that. But at the time, I believe OCD had not been recognized.
Right. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Yeah, the Comics Journal article says, they didn't have that that condition had not been labeled yet.
Right. So I think afterwards he realized that really the problem, not completely the church, but was his OCD.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's why I didn't quite get what it was, because maybe he didn't quite get what it was when he was
you mean
doing
his condition itself.
Right. I mean, I didn't realize that this was a story about, I guess we could say mental illness. It didn't...
Wait a second. How far were you into this thing and you were like, at what stage did you realize it was a story about mental illness?
Not until I'd read it all the way through and I read some other stuff. I just thought that it was exaggerated. I just took it to be exaggerated. Okay. I didn't realize that this was his actual experience.
Well, I think that's unfortunate, I think, because I think you've missed out on an incredible experience reading this. Because I haven't read it in many, many years. And reading it again, I was shocked by how extreme his issues were. And also, it seems to me like they call it now, he says, in the introduction, they say he has OCD, whatever. But I don't know, is even OCD as extreme as the things he experiences here? Because it seems really, maybe it's the way he draws it, but it just seems beyond OCD. It seems like something else, To me, OCD is like you got to go wash your hands 10 times, or you got to check that the house is locked 20 times, or whatever. And sure, it's a thing that ruins your life, but I don't know about anybody that imagines their feet and hands are and every finger is a penis, which is shooting out a ray, and then they have to avoid those rays. Are not allowed to contact any churches or images of the Virgin Mary. So he's going to make sure everything's oriented up into space, or he knows the location of every church, and he's got to make sure that the rays shooting out of his penis hands are always going in the right direction. It just seemed way beyond any OCD that I've ever heard of. Maybe there is.
I guess that's why it just seemed like it seemed exaggerated to me. I didn't quite take it seriously the first time, I think.
Right. Well, I think. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember how I reacted the first time, but I remember thinking, "Holy shit, this is over the top." But I never thought it was exaggerated. But this time, reading it this time, I was amazed how funny it was. Because I think the first time I was just totally shocked by it. And reading it now, it's deliberately funny. Like he makes fun of his own ridiculous behavior. This obsessive compulsive behavior. He describes it in a kind of hilarious way. Which amazed me this time. And I found every single panel, it kind of reminded me of Mad Magazine, like the early Mad, like the Harvey Kurtzman Mad, when it was a comic. In that every panel had a gag in it, or at least two, or something really bizarre and hilarious going every single time. And I remember, this time reading it, because I'd forgotten so many details about it. And even though they're big details, I love that you get a few, probably about, I can't remember how many pages, 5 or 6 pages of all this Catholic stuff. And he's worried about, I can't remember what he was crazy about in the beginning. But then he seems to be blaming all this stuff on Catholicism. And then suddenly in one panel you discover that his father's Jewish. And you're like, what the hell? It's just crazy. Every panel has some crazy, insane detail that comes into it.
Yeah, and then he's worried about his father's soul, and because he's not Christian, and he chooses not to be Christian, and
it's just I'm just flipping through it. There's a panel where oh my God, I can't even. We could sit here all day describing each and every panel, but randomly, he's looking at his father's friend comes in and takes a leak, and he's watching it, and then over on the next page, he's got this toy pig, the little rubber pig, and he rips off a piece of it, and by touching the black substance underneath, he has an orgasm.
Yeah, I didn't see how that could happen, but
I don't know. But yeah, there's crazy stuff going on. And then then over the page, when he learns about what sex is through schoolyard talk, he imagines this crucifix position his parents do.
That was hilarious.
Oh my God. And then 4 panels down from that, he walks in on his friend's deformed sister in the nude who's been closeted away in this room upstairs. Like, I don't understand how all this stuff could happen in one comic. It's like one page. It's like 5 panels apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just one thing after another. And, you know, it moves so fast and there's so much going on and there are so many penises in this book. It's not, I mean, I found it difficult to read in public.
Yeah, for sure.
I was reading.
I would not read this in public.
I did read some of it on the train, but I was keeping the cover really closed,
right.
as I could, because I mean I might not even notice what was on the second page that was open because I was reading the first one. Like, oh gee, there's a naked person over here. So. But yeah, I think to some extent, I mean the effect of this, it's kind of like appreciating the Beatles or something, because it may be led to things that we take for granted now, but it was, I guess, revolutionary at the time.
Well, I think it still is though. Like I was saying, I can't think of anybody that's gone to this extreme since. I mean, lots of autobiographical stuff has come out, like Mouse or whatever, but Mouse is not Binky Brown Meets the Holy Virgin Mary.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know anybody, maybe nobody else out there that has this level of OCD is able to draw this well, or to construct a comic this well that is so readable. And somehow, how did he pack everything into those panels? Like you're saying, like it moves at such a fast pace, and he's got all this stuff going on in it. And I don't know anybody else that's done that. Like there's kind of a stereotype about autobiographical comics, and I don't know that I don't agree with it, but it's a lot of navel gazing. I don't think it's all navel gazing. I think sometimes there is some navel gazing. There's no navel gazing in this thing.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's no downtime. But I don't know anybody else that has had this kind of mental illness and has managed to draw a comic about it that was this great, like this funny, and shocking at the same time.
Well, although if the ending is accurate to what happened, it seemed like he was able to overcome it.
Yes.
He was able to kind of put this all behind him, apparently.
Yeah. None of his other comics are really, especially the later stuff, is not like this. I mean, it's pretty much what you'd expect from other autobiographical comics these days. Nothing else quite reached this level. But then, it also ends with him buying a whole pile of like a dozen statues of the Virgin Mary and smashing them in his room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but first he strips down mostly naked, and he shoots he imagines his feet and his fingers are penises, and he shoots his rays all over them as a final defiant act. It's like he hasn't even really gotten over it because he still imagines the rays are there, and then he jumps around, he jumps all over them and smashes them. He trashes all the little dolls, and even with a hammer in the pictures. I don't know if he actually did that.
Mm-hmm.
He imagines himself as this big hulking He-Man, and the word out of his mouth is the fucking rays vamoosed, to describe how he's finally gotten over it. Then he sweeps up all the statues, and like it's not even completely. He doesn't seem completely normal at the end, if you know what I mean.
But then he pictures himself as a fish evolving, coming out of the water.
Yeah.
So
But the thing is, he says he's overcome his Catholic guilt, but surely he must still display some. I mean, today he must still have some sort of OCD in some form or other. I would imagine, unless he's had some kind of successful treatment.
Yeah.
At the time of the story, it's just like willpower. He just beats it by willpower.
Yeah.
It's like he can't take it anymore because he's trying to. It's hard to pinpoint one of these panels where he's trying to avoid churches. There's a hilarious one where like he's walking between two churches, and it's like, oh my God, it says the befuddled Binky finds himself in a double bind. He must now pass between, i.e., fuck two churches, or turn back. If he chooses the latter, the pecker ray will directly intersect the church, causing great harm to himself and his family. And he says, got to turn back. Guess I can do. All I can do is hope the one on the left is Lutheran. Well, here goes. And he swings around, and you see these like missiles shooting out and like blowing the steeple off the church. It's just like, and so eventually he just can't take it anymore. It's just like too much. He's like, I give up. And so he's like, screw this, and he literally just says that he goes out and buys a whole bunch of those statues and desecrates them to kind of beat it. And he's like, well, I'll go to hell, but I can't take living like this anymore.
What surprised me at the end was, I mean, he's pretty harsh on the Catholic Church throughout the story, and then in the last panel he refers to it as a well-meaning institution. I thought that was interesting.
I think that was pretty sarcastic.
Or is that tongue-in-cheek? Okay.
That's how I read it. Because there's nothing about the... he goes to Catholic school, and then the nuns are like terrible. I don't see how he could say they were well-meaning. But it's really, there's a funny thing about how it was thrilling to see like a hair out of place, like from the nun's habit, like just coming down. Mm-hmm. God, it was hilarious when he ends up going to a Jewish school, like an almost all Jewish school somehow. And all the kids there are really smart, whereas the kids in the Catholic school are all kind of idiots. God, there's just so much hilarious stuff in here. And there's some sequences that I'm not sure why they're here. Like there's one panel where he scratches his ass and then his finger stinks, so he rubs it in his brother's hair. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with the story, but...
Yeah, or like there's a scene where there happen to be some bananas in the background and there's an arrow pointing to them saying never ever refrigerate. It's like, it's nothing to do with anything. It's just some advice about your bananas. Yeah.
Did you notice, so there's a scene where he goes to the... Oh my God, like every time I pull up a panel, like there's nothing... It's funny because I really wanted to feel bad. Like I feel like I should feel bad for this guy, but he does it in such a funny way. That it's almost impossible. This time especially, I found it was just hilarious constantly, and I just was laughing at him the whole time. But he goes to the confession, and this was after the first real bad incident, which was he bought a what was it?
A bumper guard for a 1958 Cadillac.
It's a rubber bumper guard. The point is, though, it's a fetish item because he had the sexual thing with the rubber. It's the same consistency as the rubber under the pig toy, which gave him an orgasm. And he buys this bumper guard. He puts it on the table. He also has a rosary, and he's put that on the table. But then suddenly he visualizes the bumper guard as a penis, and it is phallic shaped. And it's in the same vicinity as the rosary, so he believes he's committed a sin. By imagining this bumper guard is penis shaped and is in the vicinity of the rosary, not even a church or a statue of the Virgin Mary, it's just a rosary. He goes nuts. He just like, oh my God, I'm so guilty. He goes to confession. He's like, I'd like to know, did I commit a sacrilege by contaminating the rosary with the penis-shaped thing? But there's a panel there where, like, the word balloon, you can't see Binky's face because he's on the other side of the booth. But the word balloon, the tail coming out of it is actually shaped like a penis that's pointed at Binky. And there were so many awesome little details like that in it.
This podcast is part of the Deconstructing Comics Network, where we're grateful to our supporters on Patreon. Patrons get exclusive extra content. Pledge $2 a month or more and get Batman 66 podcast Bat Bits, where we're just completing a 5-part discussion of writer and script editor Lorenzo Semple's Bat Notes memo, in which he laid out guidelines for writing Batman scripts. At $4 a month, you also get our monthly show Silver Age Batman, where I'm moving through the book Batman in the 50s, issue by issue, with a rotating second chair of Paul, Emmett, Patrick, or Kumar. Also at the $4 level, you can still access our past series that covered the first 50 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, Jim Starlin's work on Captain Marvel, and more. Follow our Patreon for free and get access to the first 2 episodes of both Bat-Bits and Silver Age Batman. Check it out at patreon.com/deconcomics, and thanks for your support.
And then he's shortly, 2 pages after that, he has a orgasm on a bicycle seat, which was also seemed more plausible than the pig toy. But
yeah, that I could understand.
Related for sure. But then he that makes him go crazy too, because what was it? I think he had something in his pocket.
A rosary. It was a rosary.
Right. Okay. So he goes down the bumpy road. Oh my God. And then he jumps off the bike and he says out loud, "God, listen, I can explain everything. It was an accident. The road was bumpy." Oh my God, we haven't even talked about the Noyatin.
Oh yeah, the word he made up that was what? It was kind of a...
He kept going around saying anything, because every single act he did, he considered a sin, especially when he started imagining that rays were coming out of his fingers and his penis and his feet. And his footsteps behind him. Even the direction
his footprints in the mud.
In the mud was a phallus, and he had to be careful which direction it was pointing. Anyway, he comes up with he starts saying "not a sin" so often, "not a sin, not a sin, not a sin, not a sin." He eventually turns into this word "noyatin," which is he describes as a nonsensical word that was invoked by the flustered lad at the drop of a hat dozens of times every hour. And he says he's thinking in class, he's looking at the girl in front of him. Coco's dress is blue today. Virgin Mary wears blue a lot too. Noyatin. And he's just walking around going, "Hi, Coco, Noyatin." And she's like, "Hi, Binky." And then her thought balloon says, "You icky spaz."
Yeah. Geez, yeah, he moves from one topic to the next in, just a few panels for each thing or one panel. Just so much there. Yeah.
And all the things that are phallus shaped. So there's like a page here where it's got like a chair. Even chairs become phallus shaped somehow. There's like boots, 7-Up bottles, a toothbrush, a tennis racket, a weather vane. Those are all penises shooting out rays. And what was the line about? Oh yeah, there's another great line on this page. As in one point of perspective where parallel objects have a common vanishing point at which their projection rays converge, so in Binky's world, every object has its dominant ray based on length rather than width. Binky's vanishing point was strictly taboo, though. The nearest or largest statue or picture of you-know-who. The object in Binky's game was never to let a ray connect with an illicit vanishing point, but to try to make them veer harmlessly into outer space or Iowa.
Because he's in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I hope his rays didn't hit me in Iowa.
Yeah.
Of course, this is the 50s. I wasn't born yet, so.
Yeah, but and there's the whole thing about the doors. This is I love this is the line, like the dialogue is so funny, or the narrative captions.
Mm-hmm.
Now Binky's hands and feet were capable of beaming out charged penis rays into infinite space. How was he to reconcile his newfound power with his god, whose hands and feet were nailed to a cross? He'd already tried prayer, but he did manage to invent elaborate ways of minimizing the harmful effect of rays with counter rays. Read on. And there's this whole thing about him having to stand perpendicularly in certain directions and doorways so that he doesn't sin. It's just insane.
Yeah, I mean that's really sounds like OCD.
Oh yeah.
And
then, relief is just a right angle away until another startling discovery is made. And he's walking around. The dialogue's hilarious. And Noyatin, rays not come, feeling good. Watch it, Bink. Uh-oh, chair makes trouble. And the chair looks all wobbly. And he's like, but our hero aligns the chair with the wall and all is well. There, that better.
Yeah, what's the Incredible Hulk talk here?
Yeah, or he actually looks like a Bizarro, I think, or something.
Yeah, he's drawn kind of angular, like a Bizarro or yeah. Which I don't know why, but
the amazing thing was I don't know how he was able to function at all. I guess it wasn't. Eventually, he reached a point where he couldn't really function at all.
And how did people around him react? We don't really Well, I mean, we have people yelling at him in the bowling alley. Come on already, Brown. Bowl. What a creep.
Yeah, everybody says he's creepy. Everybody he meets is like, that guy's creepy.
But we just get occasional looks at what other people think of him. It's mainly what's going on in his head.
I think he was in his own head for most of those years, and he doesn't really understand what other people are thinking, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting then, like, after he has that revelation, it's page 36, where he walks by a statue of the Virgin Mary and nothing happens. And then the next morning he's like, this is going to be the turning point of my life, and he gets a haircut. And the barber is saying encouraging things to him, as if the barber knows what's going on, even though he surely doesn't. Maybe it's just because he's a long-haired hippie who's getting a haircut. I don't know. But
I think that was it. Yeah, that was
you finally come to your senses, Sonny.
Yeah. I think it was just because he had longish hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally got it cut. And then he buys the dozen 39-cent Madonnas in the next panel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were talking a little in email about the different editions. I guess I didn't even really look at what was available on Amazon. I just picked one. It's the edition from McSweeney's books that is like, you could say it's. Well, they in the introduction, Art Spiegelman says it's full color, and what it is you can see like the correction fluid and the color of the paper, and like places where he fixed stuff, and it's kind of interesting, but it's also a little distracting.
Yeah, I think that's the only edition that's currently available.
Okay.
I think the single issue is out of print, and I have a feeling that this trade paperback, which came out in 94 or 95, is also out of print. 95. But I'm of two minds about the edition that you've got, which is shot from the original art and has all the corrections on it, because my feeling looking at that was, because when I heard there was an edition coming out, I was like, oh, I'd like to buy that. But when I heard that it had all of that, it was like shot from the original art, my feeling was, it's almost like, if reading that edition, it's almost like you have found a book that somebody drew. Somebody drew the super intensely personal story, and they hoarded it, and they never let anybody else see it because it was so deeply personal. And you're looking at a very deeply personal thing that he laid his hands on, and he drew, and he corrected, and all that stuff. And to me, that's not what Binky Brown is about. Because to me, it's about a guy who drew this insanely personal story and published it for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
In kind of a mass market edition, as big as the mass market would be. I don't know how many copies it ever sold back then. I think it was a huge amount because it was in the underground days. But
it was like, I think in the introduction, Spiegelman
40,
mentions a number, 40,000.
40,000. Yeah. I mean, that's not a thing that the guy kept secret to himself because it was too painful to let go. He's just like, look at this insane life that I've lived, and put it out there. But on the other hand, the thing I like about the new edition is it's kind of the gold embossed hardcover. Like they've kind of done the packaging in this super mass market way. I don't know. It seems kind of schizophrenic, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's done with this gilt on the cover, the gold, and it looks like it could be a Bible.
Gilt.
Yeah, well, there's a pun there too. But yeah, I mean, it's the wrong shape to be a Bible. I haven't seen any Bibles that were kind of this big and flat, but it's the kind of cover you might expect on a Bible.
So what's the extra material in there?
At the end, there's an afterword, and the weird thing about this afterword is you have to read it to figure out who wrote it because there's no byline, and it's actually written by Justin Green. himself, apparently for this edition. But, and I didn't quite finish it. I read most of it. It's pretty, let's see, it starts on 51, ends on 63. But yeah, that's the main thing that's added. There's a one-page thing called Labyrinth.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's in the original edition too.
Okay.
Right?
And then this page is must reading for neurotics of all creeds. This is apparently like the back cover or something.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And did you say that is there something by Spiegelman in there?
The introduction.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's basically it.
Okay. We should mention too that something we skipped about the story was something that it's obviously not the Catholicism, and even though that OCD hadn't been labeled at the time, is he has this thing when he's a little kid where he bashes his head against the headboard of his bed so he can see colors, and he does it in time to he sings, and in time to his singing he smashes his head against the headboard so that he can see stars and colors.
Yeah, and before that, when it's about to rain, he wants to go inside, and the grass tells him to sit on it so it won't get wet, and he's like sitting out in the rain against his will because the grass told him to. So yeah, he's got issues before he even starts thinking about sexual things. Yeah.
And and it's told in this kind of Crypt Keeper format, except it's like him hanging upside down, chained up, and drawing the comic with his mouth.
Yeah, what's that about?
Well, I think he comes.
It's like it's his penance or something.
Well, yeah, it is, but it actually it kind of, in terms of storytelling, it gives him a way to. It gives him a form for the narrative, for the narration.
Mm-hmm.
Because that character comes back every once in a while, much like the Crypt Keeper would have. And I think I read an interview with him where he said specifically that was what he was going for. But I was also reading his blog before we recorded today, and he's got a story on there about how his first EC comic he read was so horrifying that he was crying and petrified, and his aunt immediately came and took the comic and they threw it into the fire together, and it was like such a relief for him. But at the same time, funnily, his cousin is William Friedkin, who directed The Exorcist. And he talks on his blog also about seeing The Exorcist and that totally fucking him up.
I think he mentions that in the afterword.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Maybe it's easy for me to laugh at this because I have never had any kind of religious upbringing, and I just can see how, you deserve it, kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did have religious upbringing, and it was weird because it wasn't so strict. I mean, it wasn't even Catholic; it was Lutheran. But so I think I not nearly to the extreme of Binky, but I did it a little bit to myself. Some of the same kind of not like this, but similar.
Yeah.
and less extreme. I know it wasn't OCD.
Yeah. Should we talk about the art for a bit?
Okay.
Any opinions or thoughts?
I mean, maybe it's just because it's this edition. It looks a little rough in places. A little stiff in places, but in others it's pretty fluid. I'm not sure what to say about it.
Yeah, he's got a kind of naturally sketchy kind of, I don't know if sketchy is the right word, but he's got a kind of shaky line.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really perfect for this book. I mean, you wouldn't want it to be
You wouldn't want it to be really slick.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. I mean, everybody's face looks really horrible, which is kind of perfect. Even Jesus has a really horrible face. even the beautiful girls that he's in love with are not really, they don't look angelic.
They don't really look beautiful either.
No.
And I just noticed on page 34, when he's sitting in church and there are other people in the pews, there's a guy towards the back. His head is just like round. He looks like his head is an orange or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that guy.
Yeah.
He's got this maniacal grin on his face.
But I just love how everybody looks, and especially being just really neurotic and sweaty, and you can totally see the internal anguish in every line. I think the shaky line is so great.
There's something I noticed in the Comics Journal article. Let's see. This is Charles Hatfield wrote this. Green's artwork both reflects and resists this linearity with a riot of mixed forms, rigid and angular versus rounded and fleshy. Indeed, his carefully worked pages enact a struggle between hard-edged asceticism, in his words, order, uniformity, rigidity, and obedience, and indulgent sensuality. Binky crackles with this tension.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Looking at it, it's almost like, I just feel like the lines are so shaky. It's almost like they're about to collapse, like they're barely holding themselves together. It's a really, I just think it came together so perfectly. Yeah, I think it's really. So, how many times did you read it?
Twice.
Okay, and did you react differently the second time?
Well, I mean, once OCD had been mentioned in the other reading I looked at, I think it comes up in the afterword, and also in Wikipedia. Then I could, I could see that it wasn't exaggeration. It was what he really went through, apparently, and it made more sense to me. I guess. Okay. And of course, just like anytime I read something the second time, I pick up stuff that I missed the first time. Right.
But was this I don't know. Like I said, I went through. I think I was shocked the first time I read it, and I was in disbelief. I think my reaction was kind of similar to reading Ed the Happy Clown in some ways. The first time. And, but the second time was just hilarity. But for you, was there any? I mean, did you have a non-intellectual reaction to it?
Non-intellectual reaction.
On either, yeah.
I don't know.
You sound mixed on it.
Yeah. It made me a little uncomfortable. I don't know.
Sure.
All the penises floating around. Some of them are disembodied and whatever, or in the wrong place.
Right. The feet is the weirdest one.
Yeah.
For sure. And the footsteps, for sure.
I don't know. I think part of it was just, I felt like this is underground comics and that's what's supposed to happen. Maybe that was part of what kind of prejudiced my take on it the first time.
Okay.
Because, in Crumb you have a lot of nude people too.
I see what you're saying. Right. So you're like, this is just another underground where there are penises everywhere.
Yeah. That was part of my initial reaction to it, I think. And then I started kind of getting that it was just meant to be honest.
Right. Right. Okay. So, I'm trying to get out of you whether you liked it or whether it was just a historical object or what it was to you.
Well, I mean, like I said, in some ways it reminds me of myself.
Right. That might be
less extreme version of me.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm less extreme. Get that backwards. Yeah, more extreme version of some things that maybe I went through.
Sure.
So it hits me on that level.
Okay. So maybe because of exactly what I was saying before, how I had no religious upbringing, and to me it was just like, haha, what? No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I could identify with it.
Right, as opposed to you were not outside of it completely. You were kind of like,
right.
You kind of sympathize.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I guess that's part of the reason I'm taking it so much differently from you.
Right. Well, I mean, I didn't take it quite this way the first time I read it. I mean, but this time, I don't know why, but I know why. I mean, every panel, I just thought, like I said before, something incredible happens every single panel. It's the most on a pure craft level, it's one of the most nonstop comics I've ever read. Like I said, except for, it's on a level with those old Mad comics that Kurtzman and where there's so much stuff going on in every panel.
Yeah, or like kind of like Not Brand Ec.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I guess if you ask me if I like it or not, I guess basically yes. Partly because it's sort of articulating things that I've gone through on some level. And I guess the fact that I can identify with it in some ways makes me feel basically positive toward it, towards what he's trying to get across.
And about that articulation, I mean, like I said, I'm amazed that this guy was sane enough to be able to draw this well, and also to be able to construct a story this precisely, like.
Mm-hmm. And to make it humorous instead of depressing. Yeah.
It seems like he was coming. Actually, now that you mentioned it, it does seem like he was kind of cured, whatever that is, or healed to some degree at the end, because he was able to look back on his behavior, with wit and with irony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wondered. It's still interesting to me though that this ended up in the Comics Journal's top 10. That it was so highly regarded that it would beat out even R. Crumb and Weirdo, or or some Love and Rocket stuff.
Yeah, I've heard people say that it was ranked too high on that list.
Well, I'm sure we comics people could argue endlessly about the ranking, but yeah, go ahead.
Sure, sure. That's neither here nor there for sure. But definitely, I felt like with Crazy Cat, there were certainly moments where I was like, yeah, this is it. This is amazing.
Mm.
The tempo of it was just amazing. Even if you took out the subject matter, even if it had come out, even if it was not like really the first autobiographical comic, and if it had come out today after thousands of others, I think it would still be just as amazing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, the other autobiographical comics I've read were not written in a not Brand Ec style. I'm thinking of like Fun Home. Fun Home is nothing like this.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You could have 100. You could have Mouse and Fun Home and all of Eddie Campbell's Alex stuff, and all that great stuff could come out, and then you could be hit with this in 2013. You'd be like, "Holy cow! You have to read this thing."
Okay. Anything else we need to say?
No, I would say maybe if you're not religious, I think this is a conclusion we can come to maybe after this 45-minute discussion, is if you are not religious, you might get more out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on. Well, and then I mean, you can divide that some more between people who are religious to this day and people who were brought up religious and aren't anymore, versus people who never were. Yeah, there are kind of three different possible takes on it.
That may affect your reading of it. But I think, as I said, on a craft level, I think it's it's one of the most unbeatable comics out there.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
This is Tim back in 2025, surprised to find that Binky Brown is currently out of print. Of course, there are used copies for sale online. Follow us on Blue Sky at Decon Comics. Join our Facebook page or the more active group. Listen to our audio-only videos on YouTube. All of those are linked from deconstructingcomics.com. You can communicate with us via any of those sites or drop us a line at mail@deconstructingcomics.com or talk to us. Click the Leave a Voicemail link on the left sidebar of our site. Are you making a comic? Send it to us and we'll do a Critiquing Comics episode about it. The music backing the promotion of our Patreon is Change by Jazar. Throughout 2025, Emmett and I have been discussing Jack Kirby's 1970s Captain America work, covering the trade paperbacks Bicentennial Battles and The Swine. Next week, we'll finish out Kirby's Cap run with Captain America Annual Number 4 from 1977, in which Cap, quite unusually, faces Magneto and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And we'll talk a bit about the experience of reading these two trades 5 decades later. That's next week. Till then, this is Tim, and thanks for listening to Deconstructing Comics. As a special bonus, here's about 7 minutes of post-podcast chatter that I found I had recorded back in 2013. So enjoy.
Okay. And my mic didn't give out. I don't sound staticky.
No, it was good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, the episode I'm going to be publishing this evening, the last 15 minutes it got kind of staticky, and I had to use my software to kind of muffle the static.
Mm.
I mean, you can sample a sound and make it get rid of that sound, but it makes it a little difficult when the sound only happens when I'm talking.
Yeah.
I don't want to sample out my own voice.
What's the episode on?
Nana.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Corey and I talked about it.
Right.
And I ended up liking it much more than I expected to.
Okay.
Have you ever read it?
No, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, I read the first 6, and I want to try to fit in reading the rest of as far, she never did finish it so far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ayazawa got sick in 2010, and she's been out of the hospital a couple of years, but she just hasn't gotten back to doing it.
Okay.
But I guess there are like 21, 22 volumes. So I'd like to read the rest of them. But as I said in that episode, it's tough when I'm always having to read something else for the next episode. Yes. It's hard to go back and read other stuff that I want to continue reading.
Yeah. But actually, it's been good. Like, the episodes like this one are kind of good because I get to go back and reread stuff. And Sandman, like, I've been trying to reread that for 15 years, and I finally got around to it last month because of the show. Otherwise, I probably would have just kept buying other stuff and not getting around to rereading it.
I decided I'm going to have to find somebody to talk about Chew with so that I can get caught up on it.
Oh, yeah.
I read the first volume when I went to China in April, but I haven't had time to read the second one. It's just I never get to it.
God, I would love to. Yeah, and there's stuff we've done on the show that I would love to get back to. Like, I would love to read some more Vagabond, and I've never gotten back to that.
Yeah.
There's other books out there that we did a couple of volumes of. Like, holy cow, I need to read the rest of this, and never got onto it.
Or like the webcomic Lackadaisy.
Yeah, right.
I talked to the creator of that, like, it's been 4 years ago now, and I don't think I've looked at the site since. As much as I liked it, I just haven't been able to get back to it.
Do you guys ever get sent mini comics or only web comics? Has anybody like sent you like a risographed mini comic or a photocopied mini comic or something like that?
Well, one time that guy who does like the really tiny comics,
Yeah.
Send us those on paper.
Okay.
But yeah, normally it's either a webcomic or a PDF of something that they're publishing.
Okay.
Well, I'm talking to Mulele later this evening. He sent us a PDF of the first issue, but I guess it's only being published digitally. That guy. It's not really rough. I mean, it's a pretty professionally done comic.
Okay.
It's one of the it's an oasis among some of the crap that we've been sent for critiquing comics.
Right.
We looked at that like, because the art's so beautiful.
Right.
So you're doing Sandman next week?
Next Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and I looks like I might be. I have neither one of them have quite gotten back to me to confirm, but I might be recording 2 episodes next week.
Okay.
Which will be good because I found out the other day that I might have to go on a business trip to the States next month.
Okay.
So it'd be good to get a little ahead.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, so my brother, the one with him, that's put off for a while.
Okay.
But so after you do Sandman,
I'm going to be doing Punisher with Dana as well. But I am making him read 100 issues. But they are a pretty quick read, so I have a feeling. And with that book too, I mean, the Garth Ennis Punisher, I swear by it, and you can't. For me, I can't stop reading it once I start. So I'm hoping Dana will have a similar reaction and read through them in a month or something like that.
Okay.
But, we'll see what happens with that. But that's next. Unless something short comes up to interrupt it, that we're just going to start. As soon as Sandman's done, I'm going to start reading the Punisher stuff.
Okay. All right. So you'd probably be recording that one sometime in October?
Maybe later. But maybe October. It's possible. But it could be a little bit later. It depends. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking, what am I going to do after I finish those 2 episodes next week? I could prepare for the one with my brother. I could start reading the X-Men stuff, or I could do something.
You can do that
else.
if you want. I can do the Punisher later, and I can start reading for X-Men.
Okay. Well, it also depends on exactly when this trip is.
Right.
I think I'm going to find out by Wednesday night when it is, or at least when it's not.
Okay.
So that'll play into my decision too.
Okay.
So I'll have to get back to you after I know
Okay.
that.
Sure. Yeah.
So, okay.
Just keep posted, and I'm up either way, because either way I won't start reading anything until after I've recorded Sandman.
Right. Yeah. So there's
just
time.
to keep my head.
Yeah. And I won't start reading anything else until at least the end of next week. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Talk to you later then.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.